Okay, folks, everyone is asking about the potato towers. Everyone has questions about how to grow potatoes in a tower. So we're going to deal with that in this series of videos.
A lot of our new subscribers came from a potato tower video that we made about a year ago.
Yep.
All we had for that video was pictures, and it was from an old potato tower that we had made at our last homestead. You had a lot of questions though. A lot of questions.
A lot of questions.
So
Number one question, did they produce any potatoes? So this is the only known photo that we have of harvesting one of the towers. So yes, it produced potatoes. This is probably about 30 or 40 pounds of potatoes.
Some of the questions are about watering.
When and how much do you water your towers? Not an answer that we can give because we don't know where you live. We don't know your climate. We don't know how much rain you get. Main thing, don't let them dry out. If you see your potatoes wilting, you probably need to water them.
Also, we come up with some new ways of possibly increasing your water capacity in this video that we're making. Another common misconception from that video is they thought that the potatoes were supposed to grow up to the tower. But instead, it's very different than that. You're basically just taking a flat space, wrapping it in a circle, putting in a tower. So your potatoes grow out the sides.
Now, why? Why would you want to grow potatoes in towers like this? Well, I'll tell you a couple reasons. Number one, if you have a tiny yard in the city and you want to grow potatoes, this is an excellent option that does not take up much space. Not much space at all. In our case here, we have plenty of room all over the place. We also have plenty of clay and rocks. Any gardening that we do here to grow our food, we have to bring in soil. We have no choice. We can't turn this into a feasible garden. So that's one of the reasons why we use potato towers.
Another big question was, how does this compare to other types of ways of growing potatoes?
And so we are experimenting with 3 different ways this year, just for this video series, just to show folks how things compare. So we are growing potatoes in pots. These pots were planted roughly in March in the greenhouse, so they're far ahead of everything else. This isn't a time experiment. This isn't looking at how quickly will things grow. It's looking at what will they produce. We've also dedicated one single row of potatoes in one of our gardens here just for this experiment so that we can compare the yields that we get from each method. So let's build some potato towers and show you how we do it. These are the main ingredients that are going to go into our potato towers. Compost. This is a whole bunch of old chicken poop, probably goat poop in here, all of our kitchen waste, all kinds of stuff like that. Peat moss. This is really going to help with retaining moisture in the soil and providing a pH that potatoes like to grow in. Garden loam. Topsoil. Nice dark topsoil full of bark, sticks, there's a few rocks in there, all kinds of good stuff. Hay, straw, whatever you want to look at it as. This all came out of the goat pen. It's a mixture of both. First thing you're going to want to do is start moistening all of your mix and mixing it together. You want to do your best, in particular with the peat moss, to moisten it up as best you can, because you will never get this stuff wet once the entire tower is planted. So when it comes to preparing your potatoes, you can just chop them into pieces. You want to make sure you've got eyes on each one. Something that's ready to sprout. Some folks like to do what is called chitting potatoes. And that would be cutting these and allowing the cut area to dry out and callus over. It does help prevent rot. For the most part, these potatoes are ready to grow, so we're not going to worry about that step. If you want to learn more about chitting potatoes, you can check out Jason from Start From Seeds video on that. Because this is the Wilderstead, we have just put together a couple of things here. This is a piece off the bag of peat moss, just a piece of plastic. This is just a coupling piece. So as part of this year's experiment, we're going to take a piece of ABS pipe and put it in the center of one of the towers. We're doing more than one tower, so we'll be doing one with this B pipe that has holes drilled in it. And the goal here will be to water in this hole so that the water seeps out through the holes that we've drilled in this pipe. The other tower, we will not put one of these in, and we'll just do a side by side to see if there's a big difference between the two. Step one, take your hay or your straw, whatever you're using. Start filling the bottom of the tower. You want to kind of pack it down a little bit and basically build yourself a little bit of a nest. Next, start getting some of your growing medium into the tower. Spread this stuff around a little bit. Start putting your potatoes in. I like to keep them kind of out around the edges. Just helps them creep out the sides of the tower much quicker that way. So my spacing right now is about 4 to 5 inches. A little bit more of the growing medium, just to cover them up. Make sure everything's nicely covered. Carry on. With more hay and straw to build the next nest. Kind of pack it in there a little bit. You don't have to go too tight. Fill up layer number 2. Grab some more of your baby poutine. Spread them around in there. A little bit more of this, a little bit more of that. Just make sure all the spuds are covered up. And carry on doing that until the entire tower is filled up. The tower is starting to get filled up now. The entire thing will compact down. This might be our last layer. We might put one more. So, 7 layers we put into this particular tower. Next up, we will just stick the hose into the pipe and let it fill up. And this hose is just running out of our pond over there, Lake Inferior. Power provided by the little solar-powered pump house there. This will be our first time using this piping method to water. In the past, all we have done is basically just water on top and then spray the outside all around just to make sure it gets thoroughly soaked. And now both towers are planted. The only thing left to do is wait and watch them grow. We will keep you guys updated with videos throughout the entire growing season for these 2 towers, as well as the pots and the row that we planted up in the other garden spot.